Yeah. So welcome to this ViewScope meeting. On the agenda, we have some items like demo of OpenEBS plugin. Should I share my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So we have a demo of OpenEBS plugin, and one is review action items from last time, and PR review and issue reviews. So actually this time also we were quite busy with some other stuff. So this demo will, today, what do you think?
It will take time, at least 10 minutes.
Right.
If you want to bump it to the next meeting, I think that's fine. And when hopefully Daniel will be around as well.
Okay.
It's up to you guys, yes.
Sure. I think next meeting we can do it. We are just caught up with some other stuff. But yeah, we can begin with the PR reviews for this week. Yeah. So I think we have two PRs. 3643 and 3635. So this seem to be okay. So actually, this PR is from Showan, who works at our company only. So I will get in touch with him to update this. Brian, do you have any comments on this?
This is the one where he's like, let me just check.
Yeah, I think the comment that Brian made needs to be addressed. We talked about it last time. So that would be more, it would be nicer if we could run it as a current user.
Okay.
It would simplify the whole PR.
I'm trying to see where I made, oh yeah. Yeah, my comment is I feel it's very complicated.
Okay.
And it seems that the whole problem is the files are owned by root because the build runs as root inside a container. So if we change that, then we don't need all the other complexity.
Okay. So, yeah, I think there is a way to do it. In the Docker file, if we specify some user flag is there, right? User 1000 something.
Well, right. Well, 1000 is 1000. There's some sequence of steps that you would have to go to. What we want it to be is the current user, whoever typed to make.
So yeah, or other way to put it is like non-root user.
Well, no, the current user.
Okay.
I don't know how many ways I can say it. The problem is that the person running it then tries to RM the files, and they can't RM them because they're owned by root. So they want them to be owned by themselves, the current user, the person who ran make.
Okay. So yeah, I think Docker file is the one place where we can make this change mostly.
Yeah, you can't, because the Docker file is static for everyone in the universe, and it needs to be the current user, which is different for everyone in the universe. Well, at least it's different for any two random people you're likely to pick.
It sounds like it should be a generic problem.
Yeah, if you Google how do I run a Docker container as the current user, then you find various suggestions. It's not one line, but it's like a lot simpler than what we've got here.
Okay.
30.
So we need to explore this. That means like how to do this as a run this as a current user.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So I'll leave you a comment as a last comment on this then. So should we move to next?
Yeah.
Okay. This is the PR from Daniel, which is a draft PR. So
Yeah, I think he needs some help with the detail.
okay. So Philip,
Yeah, I'd be happy to help, but this week and next week seem unlikely. Otherwise, I feel I'm the one who should help with that, and yeah, I wouldn't mind. It just sort of got deprioritized somehow.
sure.
So I guess, yeah, the next meeting is in 2 weeks on Tuesday. Yeah, I might. By that time, I might already have addressed it. Maybe you can add me as an action item, and I'll try to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a review, and there is also like much more manual fixes that need to be done. That's the thing.
Yeah.
3635.
3635. 3635. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Can we take a quick look at 3600? I think, well, there were some comments, but I think the main reason I didn't merge it was I was about to do a release.
Okay.
So it doesn't fix the whole of the issue that I kind of tagged it with, which is fine. But I think it does take us forward. So I guess my suggestion is that I just merge this.
Sure.
I don't remember which comments I left. I mean, I can take a look here.
Well, one comment was that it doesn't fix the whole of the issue, which is perfectly true.
Yeah.
And then there was one about what the comment said, but I can't really. I don't know. I mean,
It's just the language thing.
That's kind of confusing.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, if that's all, then I guess I can approve as well.
Okay.
So, I think barring bugs, the one noticeable thing will be if you turn on the listen flag, then the ability to collect data via SIG user goes away. And given that I don't think anyone knew about that ability, I don't think that's a big loss, but I don't know. Does anyone have a view? I mean, it's kind of. I guess the other thing I wanted to do was I don't know. Yeah, it was run it inside a container, basically. Sorry, run the probe inside a container namespace, which is find that. It's somewhere. And I'm unlikely to do that very quickly. So basically, we don't turn this listen option on by default. So we don't have Prometheus metrics by default. So the PR 3600 that I'm talking about doesn't really change anything until we make some other change to turn it on by default.
Okay.
But yeah, it's not approved by anyone at the moment. So
Yeah, I just went through, like, I left a bunch of small comments. I guess I thought maybe you'd want to say something about, like, all of them, but none of them are blocking, far from that. So I can approve now if you want, and leave them as a note.
well, the only one I haven't, I only see 2 comments.
Yeah, but then there are 2 more, I guess, in the, like, in the review itself.
No, I mean, sorry, those are the 2 I counted. Oh, okay. So you mean the one in the review? Okay, count
Yeah.
contract errors. No, we don't do that one. And change the docs. Okay, I can do that.
All right, cool.
All right. Do you have any PRs other, or should we move to issues?
We can move to issues as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Okay, so we have 2 issues from the previous meeting, it seems.
Mm-hmm.
One from Brian and yeah.
Yeah, I fixed this twice now, I think. I found, well, the other one was containers, wasn't it? So there's because we're, like, capturing the data for a lot of users, we have the metrics. We can look at people who are afflicted by this, and there's not very many. So I think, first of all, you have to be in the state where you get this eBPF tracker died message, and then you have to hit some other leak. So the eBPF tracker died. I have a theory. I guess I could link to that. Well, hang on. So far, I haven't had any response from people on the IOVisor project. So if we want to try that out, we need to fork it.
Okay.
And then, yeah, my other idea is to like resync the contract code like once an hour, because what you can see is very it's very clear. Every time we do a probe restart, the number comes down again.
Yeah.
So if we effectively restart the code internally like once an hour, then that would keep the growth under control and not cost too much. It's kind of icky because it would be better to know what the real problem is.
Any idea on how we can achieve that? Like
What, to find the real problem?
the second solution you suggested, restart one.
Oh yeah, well, just run a timer and
Because we are talking about restarting the probe. Let's say some user's session is going on, like he's looking at the terminal or some other stuff.
we wouldn't restart the whole probe, just the contract code.
Okay. So we need to decouple it then for that, I think.
Let me see what. Kind of complicated. Too long. Oh, I'm on the wrong branch anyway. Okay, I don't know. It can't be that hard. We like switch from eBPF to connection tracker. It's roughly the same. You just kind of once an hour throw away the connection tracker and make a new one.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, Brian, I was just wondering, like, these things, do we have any document or design doc on this, like how we handle the networking part? We are still not much clear about how contract, eBPF. We know what those tools are, but how we are utilizing them is still a question, like in the scope, so that, we could have more clarity on this. And we tried to find it through the code also, but yeah, it was not much of a gain. So, or maybe we can put one of the meetings agenda, like, to have a small session around this.
I guess. We outsourced this development to Kinvolk. There's like 2 or 3 implementations. The eBPF one was done by Kinvolk. The eBPF stuff is in kind of 2 or 3 other repos.
Okay.
Let's see if I can find that. Yeah, so Weaveworks TCP tracer -BPF. That's kind of where the meat of that work was done, and yeah, it has a little bit of documentation. Yeah, that one.
Okay.
Well, yeah, if you look at the README at top level.
Yeah. So we import this library there and make use of it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, in very simple terms, there's a bit of code running inside the kernel which fires events every time a socket connection is made or closed.
Okay. Yeah.
And then the only other thing that Scope is doing is trying to figure out the NAT, the network address translation. Like if you have a pod network and an outside network, or a Docker bridge network and an outside network, the addresses get translated as they go between them. And that code is kind of bad. I've tried to rewrite it. That's in a PR that's been open for a while.
Yeah, I remember that. You told this earlier also.
3451.
Yeah.
Anyway, I mean, again, in simple terms, with the eBPF is firing events at us, saying, here's a connection between, each case you get the source address, destination address, source port, destination port. And then the NAT stuff is just trying to overlay that with the translated addresses, because the eBPF program can't see the translated addresses.
You're right.
And thus we get a set of endpoints. The endpoints in some cases are mapped to pins. And that's the way the rest of the mapping works. So we map from a container to a PID of a process inside it to a socket.
Okay.
Well, connection between two endpoints.
Cool. Yeah. We only explored this code some year ago, sometime, and we couldn't get hold of it. We had asked you also, so you said we made some years of experience in networks. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand all the details, but if I stare at it long enough, I can usually figure it out.
Okay. That's cool. Let's move to the issue. The second one. Thing to show.
These QDNS bots are not properly working.
Hmm.
It is not able to resolve.
Yes. Right.
Well, DNS isn't working.
Yeah. Are you putting the comment or should we?
Oh. What do you say? In the beginning, it was working fine. Suddenly, I started to have problems.
Yeah.
So he gets write operation not permitted, and then he gets connection refused. Oh, okay. So I mean, that suggests.
Yeah.
I don't know what that suggests.
So I think he can disable this, right? The checkpoint.
It's got nothing to do with the checkpoint. Nothing's going to work if DNS isn't working.
Yeah, DNS isn't working. Yeah. So. Okay, I think we have hardly 3 to 4 minutes. We can ask him to execute NS lookup and see, right?
Well, fuck knows. I'm going to Google the error message.
Oh.
There's a couple of people who couldn't figure it out. Could be a firewall rule.
Uh,
So I also replied to the person who said he found a mining procedure on his computer.
yeah.
And I mean, based on the limited information, I suspect this is someone who ran Scope and opened the port to the internet. So basically it means that some miners are specifically able to use the Scope protocol to start their software which is kind of an advance on the theory that this might happen, which is issue 2814. So I don't really know what to do about this. In 2814, we theorized that we could turn BASIC auth on by default.
Okay.
But that isn't actually going to stop any hackers, because we'd have to default it to some password that they can copy.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah. This thing, I think basic auth, we can update our examples, or do you want it to be a part of code itself and then let users disable it? The basic auth support, I'm saying.
Well, yeah, but unless we tell them to pick their own password,
Hmm.
then the hackers can just read whatever password we tell them to use.
No, we'll put it in the, YAML file, like, you can use for basic auth, you should change the stuff here, something like that.
Well, the basic problem is they're not reading the instructions. I don't actually think it's so bad for Kubernetes users, because we don't give them an ingress, do we?
No, as a scope, no, unless you expose it, on the node port.
Yeah, but they have to deliberately do that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's people running directly on Docker.
They are vulnerable. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't put a node port in, and we don't put an ingress in. Somebody did actually send a list. I guess they did a port scan or something like that. They found like 20 different computers running Scope on the internet. Someone in China did this.
Okay.
They sent the notification in Chinese, but it was kind of possible to figure out what they meant.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Should we specify?
I guess another thing we could do is disable controls by default.
Yeah, but again, people will have to read the instructions to understand the complete power of Scope. Because controls is a huge thing.
Yeah, it's a bit radical to disable it by default.
Okay. Let us think about this. Also, Brian, we should discuss this offline probably.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I just thought I'd bring it up because it was like a recent issue.
Okay. No, I want to discuss like how Scope can be vulnerable. So not a good thing to have recorded here.
Right.
Yeah. Cool. Anything else, Philip?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Nice. All right then. Brian, do you have anything?
Nothing else, thanks.
Okay. All right then. Thank you.
Thank you for recording.
Thanks. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Hello.